Very good. Very good. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Typically, when we hold this session, we have people joining us from different parts of the world, different time zones. So I know at least one guy here is in Central Time, I believe. I'm not sure anybody else. Actually, it'd be nice if you can say we are. Just as a comment, where are you based geographically, or what's your time zone? That'll be just nice, and I would appreciate it so we can tell. I'm Danny, and we hold this session almost every week. I skip once in a while. I skip one for traveling, so we haven't done it for 2 weeks now because I was traveling. I'm back, and the whole point of this session, or the whole reasons for these sessions, is to provide some education, engage with you guys. Hopefully you'll even become clients of ours. That'll be great. Some of you are, some of you maybe going to be. So thank you, Nir, for contributing. So that's definitely, I see another one from the West Coast. So that's always the pleasure, or the reason why we do this. In a clear purpose to help you guys be better investors, and obviously we hope to be part of that journey. If you have a topic that you would be interested, let us know. I always bring something that comes throughout my weekly meetings with investors. There's always something that comes up that in my mind I find it interesting, and then I think it's interesting to me, and many times I think it's interesting to others as well, and that's how usually I pick my topics. This week, someone approached and requested that we do something about different, kind of like an overview of different investment strategies, and then maybe that's something we'll do for the next session. But if there's something kind of bugging you, or something you will be more interested to know, let me know. If I'm knowledgeable on the topic, I'll be happy to. If this is a topic not up my expertise, I will politely decline. I only like speaking about things that I know and not things that I don't. This session is going to be about partnerships, and when I kind of put everything together, getting ready for this session, I realized the word partnership is a little bit too wide and can include many, many things. And I just want to emphasize when I put this session together, it came out of a pure necessity from someone who asked me about partnering with his friend, something that comes up every once in a while, and I decided that's a great topic to tackle. So let's talk about partnerships, not in the bigger sense, of partnerships, but more in a kind of the closer sense of, here I am, I'm considering investing, and I want to possibly partner with someone else on one transaction. This someone happens to be maybe my family member, my best friend growing up. That's something that really comes along every so often, and I want to kind of touch on that point. Maybe not give you the clear answer if yes or no. I don't think that's even something someone would want to know. It's more like how to think about it, how to tackle this aspect of partnership, and maybe give you some pointers. So this session, and by the way, this session is being recorded here on Facebook. It's being recorded here on YouTube. You can probably not see that. And also it's being recorded here on our podcast. So you can consume this however you see fit. Podcast, YouTube, Facebook Live. Hopefully that's plenty and accessible to you guys. So just be aware. We have 2 podcast channels, by the way. One in English, which is this one, and one in Hebrew, which is actually the #1 podcast for U.S. real estate invested in Hebrew when you search for that topic in Google. So luckily or thankfully, something is going well with that. So let's talk about partnerships. Again, partnerships in the sense of, here I am, I'm about to do a transaction, and I may or may not want to bring a partner, and that partner, let's make it that partner is not just some random people, which is also a possibility and can be also related to this topic. And we want to do the deal together. It so happens this partner of mine is my best friend growing up, maybe some family member. how do we kind of digest this whole thing of a partnership? There's lots of awkwardness there, and there's a lot of kind of unknowns or yes and knowns, and I'll give you my thoughts and experience about it. So first of all, in order to consider even if it's even worthy of taking a partner, it really depends on the type of the deal, how much money is needed, and what's our comfort zone, risk-wise. When I got started, my first transaction in 2002, that was my first investment of a rental property back in 2002. I was a young guy, working for high tech, living in Tel Aviv, Israel, and at the time, I wanted to buy a rental property outside of Phoenix, Arizona. That rental property required a down payment of $25,000, I believe, $25,000. We needed $25,000 for the down payment, the closing costs, etc., and we purchased it with a mortgage. So that means $25,000. I was a young guy. I didn't have $25,000. Also, it was my first investment. I was just starting with this journey of real estate investing, and I was not 100% or far from it confident about what I'm doing. In order to make it happen, I felt that, first of all, just realistically, financially, I need someone to help me make it happen, because it's all going to be all talk and walk if I just want to invest and I don't have the required amount. So I needed someone to come in and help financially. But I also felt that by bringing on a partner, I'm in a way cutting my risks in half. So I was completely okay with it, and I cut my risks in half by bringing on a partner. So my partner, I brought in a family member, and we bought this property together as partners, and the rest is kind of history. That was my first transaction. So for me, it was a clearly go, no-go type of a situation. If I would not bring in on a partner, I would not make that deal. I could have, possibly go and do something else, real estate-wise. But that's the investment I wanted to do at the time, and the partner, in a way, was what enabled me to do it. Now, talking about partners, especially if it's friend and family members, can be awkward. So first of all, the first thing you should be considering is, one, do I really want to take a partner, right? Do I really want to? Number two, does it require me to take a partner? Maybe it's a smaller amount needed, and maybe no partner is really necessary. So another consideration: do I really need a partner? Want a partner? Need a partner on that deal? The other factor is, even if you don't want to, and even if you don't need to, maybe the deal is complex enough or complicated enough, or there's enough risk, in the deal, that just by bringing a partner, again, I'm looking at from the risk side of it, I'm cutting my risk by half, basically allocating or shifting half of the risk to my partner, or whatever percentage we do. So bringing on a partner can really be that psychological comfort, saying, you know what, this deal is complicated, I'm not sure about it, but instead of trying to digest all of it by myself, I'll bring a partner. Yes, that means half the profits, but it also means half the losses or the issues and problems. So definitely something that there's advantages and disadvantages for. Now, if you bring on a partner, the one thing that I see, and I think that's the main concern about bringing on a partner, is that the partners do not take the time and discuss the framework of the partnership. Now, I'm not talking about putting the partnership in a contract or an agreement just yet. That's definitely something that can be done or should be done. It's a whole different conversation. But just kind of create the framework. For example, let's sit down. Go ahead and sit down with your partner and go over the what ifs. For example, what if we need more money into the deal? Are we both going to bring equally or not? If we're not 50-50 partners, does it mean that everybody needs to bring their own, proportional share? There's not a yes and no here. There's just need to be discussed. All those things need to be discussed. What happens if one of the partners do not or cannot bring money in for whatever reason? Does he get fully diluted? Is there a penalty for him not bringing money in? So that means I get a little bit more, me or him getting a little bit more than just the additional contribution. Again, there's not a wrong or right answer here. It just needs to be discussed. Remember, who's going to make the decisions? Major decisions, minor decisions. Major decisions: selling, accepting a selling, putting more money in, making some financially significant decisions. Those are the major ones. Maybe minor ones would be choosing a realtor, insurance decisions, selecting insurance, staging, yes, no, things that are of financial significance but not as major. So are we both making all decisions together? Are we not? Now, are we meeting on a weekly basis, setting up 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour to discuss, kind of review, and then maybe even saying, listen, let's divide and conquer the work. I'll do insurance, I'm going to do bookkeeping, you're going to be the liaison to the property manager or the rehabber or whatever that is, and then everybody has their own kind of field of expertise, comfort zone, and we complement each other. So bringing on a partner, especially if it's a little bit more of a complex deal, also can help or enable us to kind of brings our strengths into the transaction and letting me and my partner each do their own thing. But we have to remember it's very important to do a framework. One of the biggest challenges in a partnership is when things don't go according to the plan, and I don't mean necessarily going catastrophically bad. I just mean they don't go according to the plan. Let's just say we were planning to put it as a rental, and the market is softened, and we have to sell, or vice versa. We both need kind of a scheme or somehow to make sure who makes the decision, how the decision process takes place. But also remember, when I have a partner, and let's say in many cases, when I'm partnering with my friend, I'm not just partnering with my friend. I'm actually partnering with his wife, and she and him are partnering with my wife, because when me and my friend get along and work well, there's also some external forces or pressure, like the spouses. I'm not just saying the wives, the spouses. It could be two girlfriends and the husbands. I've seen all combinations. So remember, we may be in a situation where tension is involved. We all have an emotional connection to money. And when the tensions are a little bit more involved, and maybe there's a frustration or tension being built, it's not just us, it's our immediate, environment as well that's creating that pressure. So that's why putting, I call it the spirit of the relationship, in writing and saying, what if we need more money, if we need to rent or we need to sell, if one cannot, bring more money in, what's happening? What if focus here? What if an offer comes in? Maybe it's a lowball offer. One partner wants out, needs money in his life. One partner says, no, it's a really low offer, let's skip it. How are we going to make the decision? When we put all those things, when we're cool and in kind of comfort zone, then that would be a great time for discuss, surface, touch all those what ifs. Now, I'll say this. Even if you sit down and put all those 5, 10, 15, 20, 100 situations on a piece of paper, you're not going to meet all of them. But you're at least going to create the spirit of the agreement between you guys, and how, and that will probably be a good foundation to different or other situations that may come up. And at least you've talked and discussed and maybe set the expectations between both of you regarding multiple situations, right? Now, do you have to take it to an attorney and work with an attorney on that kind of agreement? Well, you don't have to. I think it's very smart and very good and very healthy to have a document, a 1-pager, 2-pager, where you discuss all those things and you even sign, so this is what for me the signature is not the signature. I always see the signature as here's the document we agreed on, right? This is the document. It's not the other version. It's not this version. This is it, right? Now we know which one, because we went back and forth on a couple of things and in emails and text. Here it is. It kind of seals the deal, seals the relationship in terms of which communication we used. And then if you feel it's necessary to actually take this document or sit down with an attorney and draw an agreement, that's definitely something you can do. I think most people don't bother to do either going to the attorney. And I think from what I've seen, most people, when they do this type of partnership, don't even bother to do a 1-pager, 2-pager to agree upon things. So I think it's smart. I think it's healthy. I think it's important, because when things will happen, not if they will, if happen, when they will happen in real estate, and they're not according to the plan, all of a sudden you thought one thing, realize that you were thinking, if that happens, we'll deal it this way, and your friend partner deals with it in a different way, and it's hard to bridge that gap. That's why it's healthy to do it right now. Set the tone, set the spirit of the agreement. Now, in a partnership, one of the things that's important to kind of discuss or agree upon is, are you equally contributing time-wise and effort, or from the get-go, maybe one partner is very passive, silent partner because he doesn't want to be involved or doesn't have the time or skills or whatever. So it's very important also to discuss who's doing what's the involvement, what's kind of the role each one is taking, who's more actively involved, passively involved, equally involved, time and energy. I'm not talking about financially, time and energy. By the way, you can even set it in a way that's saying, listen, you'll bring 65% of the financial needs, I'll bring 35. But because I'm going to put more time and effort and energy into working, we'll split it 50-50. Okay, so that's also something that can be agreed upon, or obviously different calculations or different numbers. But you can say you'll bring X, I'll bring Y financially. But when everything is said and done, or when everything is actually funded, we are 50% partners moving forward. just something to think about. Hang on a second. Okay, now one of the things that I have seen in my career, that really works well is what I call the journey partner, not the transaction partners. And what do I mean by that? The journey partners are two friends that are walking the path of investing together, but each making their own decisions and investment. I have several such investors, very good friends. They each buy individually, but they are in it together. So everything they do together. Decisions, they kind of bounce ideas, look at properties together. They're pretty much accountable for each other, because on decisions, on review, on different things related to a transaction, but they're each buying individually. Now, every time I've seen that happen, so I call it the journey partners, not the transaction partner, I think it's a recipe for success. And I have to say, 2 partners or 2 friends, not 3 or more. The reason is 2 is best and 3 is not, or 3 or more is not, is because once you have 2, it's easy to coordinate, it's easy to meet, it's easy to discuss. The communication is still simple enough. The minute you bring on the 3rd friend, it's no longer the same simplicity. It's already more complicated to coordinate time, to meet, to discuss. It kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. So my suggestion, if you are someone who wants to invest and kind of is held back for one reason or another, look for that partner. How do you find that partner? Different rooms you go to, lectures and events and seminars and workshops, and you try to not network in the sense of networking, but network in a sense to find that person who is in a similar position to you. That's ideal. Wants to do similar investments to you, so you're on the same page, kind of values, investorally, but that person is also held back from one reason to another. And then if you say, listen, I have an idea. How about we journey partner and kind of try help each other, kind of be the backing or hold each other accountable or review properties together, so we can kind of help and make sure we're doing the right thing and we can support each other in the process, but we're each buying individually. Every time I've seen it in my career, it was always a recipe for success that helped people. So I suggest you find that person, and if you need to, and kind of form that relationship. I do have to say that many times when you have a couple, husband and a wife, that partnership sometimes could work very well if they're both equally in. But many times what I see, one of the husband or the wife are more the leading person in the process for whatever reason, and the other is very passive. And that's not an equal partnership for that sake. It's more of a, we are in to do it together, but we are not putting the same time, energy, effort, etc. for whatever reason. Is it comfort zone or time-wise or energy or other responsibilities in our life? So husband and wife are not always the perfect partners, and maybe if your spouse is not really right there alongside with you, helping you making the decision, find that journey partner, friend, to do the same together with you, and that will really help, especially if you feel that you need to break some barriers to get things done, investment wise. I will say that what I have seen over the years that happens for the investors who work with us, we in a sense become that partner. It's not, I wouldn't say we're exactly an equal partner because I have a lot of experience, but I am definitely a type of a partner for my investors because they draw expertise from me. They draw another person's opinion or someone who's kind of checking on the same transaction, and even confidence. Over the years, I've seen many investors that I literally had to take them and say, okay, buy this property now, because I could tell that for months they're debating, they're procrastinating, they can't make a decision, they're concerned, they're afraid. And when I had to, not to convince them, but kind of nudge them a little bit, kind of push them a little bit to make it happen, they jumped in and made it happen. And on a good deal, we always make sure it's a good deal, and that helped them kind of cross at least the initial investment, which is always the most difficult one. So one of the things I've noticed that even if you can't find a partner per se, like a journey partner, you can find someone like us, hopefully us, but it could be someone else who you can use as a mentor. But that mentor can be a little bit more than just the mentor word. It can be that person you can actually get from their knowledge, experience, and confidence in order to make those decisions. We're all afraid to make those decisions. Obviously, I have to tell you that to this day, I've been doing it for so many years. If you think that when I buy a property, I do it with a clear conscience, no problem, no issues, no concerns, you're absolutely wrong. I always have that, concerns in me, and naturally, and I think it's healthy. It kind of tells me my mechanisms, my emotional mechanisms are still working properly. So even I don't have 100% certainty on this property or another, but I try to mitigate the risk, the uncertainty, and help myself when I buy, and obviously the investors I work with also to reduce the uncertainty, reduce the fear to the point that they can actually pull the trigger and invest. So kind of to wrap up this conversation about partnerships, remember I mainly talk about partnering with a friend or a family member. I talked about holding a conversation about the relationship in terms of expectations, financial expectations in, financial expectations out, the what if scenarios that can happen throughout the life of the investment, who's going to make major decisions, who's going to make minor decisions, who's more passive, who's more active. The more you discuss those things when you go into the relationship, the better you will be calibrated and in sync throughout the journey of the holding, of the property itself. And it doesn't matter if it's a flip, if it's a rental, if it's whatever type of an investment, if it's long-term, short-term, commercial, residential, with LLC, without LLC, this has nothing to do with it. I'm talking about the decision-making level of every investment and how to kind of plan for times where things don't go according to the plan. That doesn't mean, again, catastrophe, but they don't go according to the plan. I think it's smart and healthy for the relationship to write it down and sign it, so we're all both on the same page. If we go to the next level and hold that, kind of consult with an attorney that can help you make a more formal agreement if you think it's necessary. It's not a bad idea at all. Sometimes, just talking about multiple things that can happen between you guys will help resolve situations when they come up later on, and they will come up. You can count on it. They will. And lastly, the last thing I wanted to say again is find that if you don't have that in-house partner, family, good friend, maybe find a partner in your, like your network, someone who is in a similar situation to you and wants to invest, looking for that partner as well. They may not even know they're looking for a partner, but you may come into their life exactly when they need you, and just try to find someone that's really on the same page as you are in terms of values, financials, what they want to do. I think it will be a little bit counterproductive to partner up with someone who wants to buy shopping centers when you're interested in buying residential rentals or something of that sort. I think that would help. And again, that journey partner is not someone that you will necessarily buy or invest with in a certain transaction. It's mostly kind of bounce ideas, do some thinking, check each other's deals, ask questions, brainstorm. Again, it's a very intimate support system for you. That's everything I wanted to cover about this topic. If you have questions, please let me know right now, right here. Put it on a comment. If you are watching the recording, you can definitely send us questions through Facebook. I even found that through the podcast you can send questions, although I'm not sure a lot of people are familiar with it. So anywhere, however you see fit, Facebook Messenger, post a comment on the video, email, it's all fine. It's not a problem. That's what we do day in, day out. Even now, while I'm speaking, someone already texted me, on the messenger, starting asking questions. My friend, I'll get back to you in a few minutes when we're done. I just want to say, for those of you who joined a little bit later, this session, which we do almost on a weekly basis, is available, or the recordings are available on our podcast. They're available on YouTube, on Facebook. It's also available on YouTube, so you can definitely consume it however you see fit. And also, if you are someone who wants to invest and or continue investing, doesn't have to be a beginner. We work with experienced investors as well. I know all too well how investors wannabe are sometimes stuck. Something is holding us back financially, mentally, some other challenges. I invite you to set up a time to speak with me. We're going to do an intimate conversation, probably over the phone, Skype, or Zoom, or in person. If you're in Southern California, no problem. And then I can try and understand a little bit what's your challenges, what's your questions, what's your concerns, what's holding you back. I can't promise I'll be able to solve all the problems, but from experience, I'll try to bring suggestions, ideas how to get unstuck and move forward, whether it's the first deal you want to do or the 10th deal you want to do and something else is holding you back. I'm right here. That's what we do day in, day out. The first session we hold, I call it a strategy session. It's typically about 30 minutes long, and it's free, doesn't cost you anything, and I guarantee, or I promise, it's not a sales pitch. I'm not going to tell you buy my product, buy into my program, buy my book. Not going to happen. It's more of an intimate, opportunity for us to discuss and see if I can help you at all, and if it's a good match. We may decide to work together afterwards. We may decide to not. That's okay too. It's not a problem. No strings attached. It usually takes about 30 minutes. And if you're interested in doing so, I'm just going to put the link how to register. You just complete our pre-meeting intake. It takes between 2.5 to 3.5 minutes, very short, not too personal. No social security is needed, no credit card is needed. It just kind of gives, a few questions about you, about a little bit about your experience, and then it takes you about 3 minutes to complete. Once you complete it, Kenny, my assistant, will reach out, schedule a time, and then we talk. However, in whatever method it's best for you, phone, Skype, Zoom, in person, no problem. That's what we do day in, day out. Now, if you have any questions, let me know now. If you have suggestions about the format or ideas for future conversations like this one, sessions like this one, please put them here in the live. And for those of you who are listening on the recording, send it over to us. It's always nice feedback to have from investors or people, who are asking for specific information. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nir, for contributing, for being a productive member of this conversation. Thank you, everybody else. I don't see questions coming in. I hope to hear from you soon. I hope to talk to you very soon. I hope you're going to be. I wish you tons of success in whatever type of investment you're doing. Hopefully with us, of course, but on your own as well. Have a terrific rest of your day. Have a terrific weekend. I hope to see you in a week in our next session. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.